Greetings, everybody. Gleekon here again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft as we continue our little interim period before the next war, or really the expansion beyond the Dark Portal. Sort of a I don't know if you'd call it a war or not, but a continuation of the Second War, kind of the wrapping up of it. Some campaigns that happened before the Third War. All right, so stay a while and listen to this one. It's called The Cost of War. My guess is that it's going to be, we've seen how there's a negative trickle-down effect, obviously, as you would expect from the Horde losing the Second War, but I'm guessing we're going to find out here some of the ways in which the Alliance has suffered. We already know one way is that the Elves of Quel'Thalas are going to want to defect. While the remnants of the Horde struggled for survival, victory celebrations graced every Alliance city. Humans, dwarves, gnomes, and high elves reveled in their triumph. Yet, when the jubilation passed, a harsh reality set in. Life would never be the same. War had decimated the eastern kingdoms. The Horde had razed countless villages and cities. Corpses choked the roadways and mountain passes from Hillsbrad foothills to Quel'Thalas. For nearly everyone who'd fought, the war did not end with the Dark Portal's destruction. Survivors were plagued by nightmares of the horrors they'd witnessed. Many soldiers had lost close friends. Some had even lost their entire families. Still others emerged from the war forever maimed and disabled. The struggle to find inner peace would be a long and arduous road, a battle more difficult than any of the survivors had faced against the Horde. Yeah, that's true. And you could tap on things like coming back from World War I and World War II to kind of tap into just a bit of what this would be like. Even Turalyon was haunted by what he'd seen. The death of his mentor Lothar pressed down like an iron fist on his heart. The temptation to withdraw into himself was strong, but Turalyon would not abandon people in need. He'd been promoted to Supreme Commander of the Alliance, and thousands now looked to him for guidance and leadership. Turalyon knew that the key to bringing life back to normal was rebuilding the Eastern Kingdoms. He spearheaded these efforts by gathering the Alliance leadership in Lordaeron. The rulers agreed to pool their resources to mend their war-ravaged nations. Due to its betrayal, Alterac did not take part in this meeting. The human leaders were still debating how to deal with the rogue kingdom, and the discussions would continue for many weeks. According to the video game, they were tried for treason and murdered. Special importance was placed on rebuilding Stormwind. King Taranis of Lordaeron had pledged to aid the fallen kingdom and support Prince Varian Rin's ascension to the throne. For some, Stormwind was a powerful symbol of humanity's future. Even if it could rise from the ashes, anyone could. So it's symbolic. Word of Stormwind's reconstruction was met with mixed feelings by the kingdom's refugees. Many of them refused to return to their broken home. Stormwind was a reminder of everything they'd lost. These refugees preferred to start their lives anew in Lordaeron. Yet other refugees did return to Stormwind, including Prince Varian Rin. Turalyon oversaw efforts to repatriate the kingdom's citizens and secure Varian's place as the next king. He surrounded the teenager with seasoned ministers and advisors to help him settle into his new role. While Turalyon was occupied in Stormwind, his fellow paladins went to work in Lordaeron. The Order of the Silver Hand had been formed to fight the Horde, but its purpose did not end with the Dark Portal's destruction. The Paladins coordinated with the Church of the Holy Light to help the Alliance move forward. They healed the sick and granted shelter to the survivors who were so broken by the war they could no longer care for themselves. And here we have Illyria and Turalyon. I didn't know. Was her name Illyria in the book? I thought. During the Second War, many members of the Alliance formed friendships. Some, like Illyria and Turalyon, even kindled closer relationships. The elf and the human were from different worlds, but they had been brought together in a way that only war could do. As the months passed and Illyria and Turalyon discovered more about each other, they grew close. The war and its aftermath would test their bonds, but in the end, their love would prevail. So that's, not the first ever, but this is our first real heroic figures that are elven and human that are going to unite. Although, what happens with Illyria? Because I know is she considered? What is she considered? A high elf, blood elf? Does she become forsaken? Because she's Sylvanas' sister. So those are all good questions, and I know that her and Terrellian they have big roles in Beyond the Dark Portal. All right, so we got another episode in the pipe, 5x5. I thank everybody so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode of Lore of Warcraft.